The disconnect between African immigrants and Black Americans is extremely disheartening. A friend of mine was voicing her opinion about how she's constantly talked down upon by African immigrants, like on a consistent basis. And I say it's on a consistent basis because she's dating a man who is African, and of course he has African immigrants as parents. And so they're always talking down on her or being snark with her in certain type of ways, and she doesn't appreciate it. This is a subject I've been wanting to talk about for a long time. It's just always been something else going on, and I never got around to doing it, or I forget it and it slipped my mind. But it's something that I see is prevalent in the United States. First of all, I have an idea of where it stems from. But because I know where it stems from does not mean it's all right. Don't make it cool. Don't make it acceptable or none of that. A lot of those negative connotations come from the fact that before Africans, before they migrate to the United States, all they have to base their knowledge of Black Americans off of, all they have is the media, television and movies. When they see movies or TV shows like Love and Hip Hop, Basketball Wives, with girls fighting and disrespecting each other and throwing drinks all in each other's face, and they see movies like Menace to Society. And again, these are movies, and there's nothing wrong with art. With movies is art and is an expression of a depiction of sometimes harsh realities of certain neighborhoods in the United States where African Americans reside in. But when they watch movies like Menace to Society and Boys in the Hood, they think that all Black people, all Black Americans are lazy, violent, disrespectful. They want things handed to them. They're entitled and all that type of stuff. That's the notion that they get about Black Americans. Unfortunately, first of all, we know that when they have these things, because they never had any interactions with Black Americans, they take those stereotypes as truth and not stereotypes. They think that's really how Black people act, Black Americans act. And that's why when they come over here, they look down upon a lot of Black Americans. Like that's really what it comes from. Does that make it right? No, not at all. And let me be clear. It's not my job as a Black American to make another group of people like me or make them tolerate me or make them look like, oh man, these Black Americans ain't so bad. No, that's not my job at all. I'm going to be me, and if you like me, you like me. If you don't, you don't, but I'm going to be me, and that's it. But my problem is when you have individuals who've been here for a long time that know better and know that you're going to have bad interactions with all different types of people, no matter who it is, from all races, and still look down on Black Americans like they ain't nothing when they first meet them, that's disrespectful. Like, that's like a slap in the face. Because we Black people, we both Black. And although I don't know where my African ancestry, what country my African ancestry comes from or lies within, does not mean that you get to look down on me crazy. We Black people. It's other ethnicities in the world that look at Black people like they at the bottom of the totem pole already. So for you to do that too, it's like, it's embarrassing. Like, it's appalling, and you be looking like, what? For real? Like, you just look like it's absolutely crazy. But again, I've seen it. I have friends, when I was in school, I had friends who, they were African, Nigerian, for sure. A lot of them when I was in college. And one of them in particular told me, this was when I was at Mississippi Valley State University. They told me that the Africans in Nigeria did not want their children attending historically Black colleges and universities because they thought the education was meaningless. They felt like it was subpar. They felt like the education was not going to be up to standards because it's a Black school. And they feel like Blacks don't hold themselves up to the same standards as whites. This was told to me. They looked at Black schools like it's almost nothing. That degree don't mean nothing. So the African young man that I'm talking about came to my college graduated with a degree in a STEM field. STEM is, science, computer science, mathematics. Graduated with a degree in that field and left with almost a 6-figure job opportunity that he took. And after that, they said, oh, well, we'll start sending our kids to HBCUs now because we have proof that one person went and made something of himself and got a quality education and a job opportunity that could change his life. And his degree actually meant something coming from that black college. So the spectrum, the barrier was broke with that. But it's just a problem with me that you have these notions about black people before interacting with them. And again, it comes from a lot of the films that they see, and they've never interacted with black people, so they take that as face value. And it's not even just, and then they take that as face value, and when they have their children come here, they don't want their children marrying us. It's some, I'm not going to say they, like it's all of them, but I've heard stories of a lot of them not wanting their children to marry black Americans because they feel like black Americans are at the lower standard. They don't hold themselves a high standard, and they feel like they just at the bottom of the totem pole. And like to turn your nose up at black people, black Americans, it's just like that's out of pocket. It's out of order. And them stereotypes that are perpetuated in them films and in the movies and in videos, music videos, it spills over not just to Africans. It spills over into the minds of other nationalities as well. When I was in graduate school, the program I was in was mostly foreign students. So before they got to the United States, their first time coming to the United States was when they were studying for their degrees and, trying to get their master's degree. They told me after we became close friends, not to take offense, but their families told them not to be around black people, not to befriend black people, that black people were bad people, black Americans were bad people, and that they weren't people that you should hang around. And he told me this, and I know where they came from. The movies and stuff, they see of black men on TV being killers and gangbangers and all of this and all of that. And I'm like, oh my God, they take that as that's how black people are. So when he interacted with us, he said black people were some of the nicest people that he ever met in his life. Like he really enjoyed hanging around us. I had other friends that were black, that came from the same college that I went to as well. He met them and loved them. And so that's the problem that lies within it. Also, I had friends who were, I had a Chinese friend. I was in high school. When I was in a program, it was a pharmacy program that I was doing. And he told me that his mother told him he can marry any other woman but a black woman. A friend of mine in graduate school told me, and she's from Saudi Arabia, told me that her family says she can marry any man. She cannot marry a black man. They can only be her friend. I've had a friend from Thailand tell me that her family told her to stay away from black people. They were bad people. And my friend from India said the same thing. So now you see what I'm getting at. These stereotypes in these films have us looking like we heathens. And I know it's stereotypes in all other races as well, depicted in movies as well. But for us, it's like people take that as truth for us. Like when you see an Italian mobster movie, a lot of people be like, it happens, but not all Italians are like that. But for some reason, when you see black people in movies, it's like they take that as all of them had to be like that. All of them. I'm talking about people outside of the United States. It seems like that's what a lot of them feel like. And I don't know if just because those images are the dominant images that they see black people in, the negative roles, because we all know negative controversy sells much more than positive images. I don't know if that's because of those are the more prevalent images of black people, that they take that as they take that as like concrete, like that's how black people are or something, or I don't know. But, you know, it's like, man, we really got to have more positive images put out about us. Not just so people can feel comfortable around us or feel like, you know, change their thinking of us. Not just because of that, but because also it has an effect on the youth as well, to see black people in more prominent positions and a family dynamic and all those type of things. Which is why, despite Bill Cosby's actions, The Cosby Show was a great show because it depicted black people in such a positive light. You saw a black man being a doctor, a black woman being a lawyer, black children going to college. Things like those are great. That was a great images for black people to be presented in. So, yeah, man, but it's just disheartening when I see African people looking down upon black Americans. And let me just say this, too, because I know a lot of people going to come and say you have black people that do the same thing, which is true. And it's even more disgusting on that side as well. Because when I was in school, you know, y'all know we was kids. The term black, African booty scratcher, they would call Africans that is a joke. They would call them that name as a joke. I never said it, but I've heard people say that. And that's extremely disrespectful. And it's extremely, like, that can be something that, like, teasing like that can be very disheartening. Now, of course, being African is kind of like, it's more, I'm going to say more accepted. But people embrace African ancestry much more than I think people did back then. It's for my generation in particular, but and probably because we're getting older. We're older now. We're not children. Don't think on a childlike level anymore. But that has reversed now. But yeah, I've seen you know, African kids getting teased and stuff like that by black Americans as well. So I know it goes both ways. But like I said, I've seen it firsthand that, you know, Africans looking down upon black Americans. And I just think it has to stop, man. You know, at the end of the day, we all black people. And black people got to stop looking down, cracking jokes and stuff on African people too. We all black people. Cut that out. Cut that foolishness out. But I see it a lot, man. I've seen it a lot in my time. And I just wanted to talk about it. Whatever y'all feel, y'all can drop y'all comments in the section below. I know a lot of people gonna ask me, why are you have videos about race? Well, race is an important topic in the United States. Not to divide people, but you see race. It's an important topic. So why will you dance around it? When we have racial issues in this country, we have racial injustices, things like that. These things, race is an important thing in America. And I'm sure when you see the things that's going on in the world, you would know that. So I'm not the type of person that's not going to talk about certain things if I feel like it's something that's on my heart to speak about. I'm not going to, because I know I'm not saying anything malicious or anything mean-spirited at all. Speaking on observations. And when I make this video, I'm not trying to demonize African people or try to make it seem like they just can't stand black Americans. I'm saying that I've seen it and I've had other people talk about it. And it's a problem. And I think that it has to stop. Same with black Americans, kids teasing other African kids when they were going to school, all that type of stuff. Because I know back then, it's like I said, people are more trendy with African culture now, embracing it. But I know back then it was harsh on African kids because I know black American kids that was teasing kids for just being African. So that got to stop too. But yeah, I said all of it to say that, you know, I talk about race in my videos because it's an important thing. And people want to act like it's not a part of society, that we should just not talk about it. But I'm going to talk about it as my channel. And again, I ain't scared to talk about it because I know I ain't coming from a place of malice when I'm talking about it at all. But it's just something that I see. And I hope these relationships between black Americans and Africans get much better. And you know, the disconnect is becomes obsolete, and we become connected. And I hope in general, all these stereotypes that other people have of Black Americans is gone, and that I know it's never going to all be all the way gone, but I'm hoping that people that these stereotypes become to, what's the word I'm looking for? It becomes to be something that is not a prevalent thought amongst Black people when, like, outside of the United States is what I'm saying. So I'm stumbling over words a lot because I'm really trying to say what I want to say in a certain type of way, and make sure I'm saying it in a certain type of way as well. So, but yeah, man, that's just my thoughts on the topic. Again, y'all give y'all comments below. Peace.